Boxing truth here. Swift Jarret Hurd is going to knock out Jermell Charlo if and when they fight, which is not going to be next. But Jarret, do me a favor and drop that chump. Jermell Charlo needs to be humbled, and Jarret Hurd is definitely the guy in the division to do it. He's very big, very tall for the division. He's got a big reach. He's got good power. And I know a lot more about Jarret Hurd throughout his campaign at 54 compared to Jermell Charlo. I didn't learn nothing about Jermell Charlo his last fight. It only went 3 minutes, almost close to 3 minutes. He threw one punch that landed, and Harvey Doc stopped the fight for him way too early, in my opinion. But Jarret Hurd, I learned a lot about him in his last few fights. He's overcome adversity. He's overcome some difficult styles. He's showing a really good chin, good whiskers. He's showing great stamina. He's showing very good punching power, accurate shots, can walk you down. And he's a dog in that ring. And it's going to be quite a task for anybody at 54 to let alone beat him, but even last the full distance with him. Jarret Hurd has been on a knockout streak. He's been knocking out guys left and right in his past few fights. Has been devastating. And he just won up on his performance against some of the elite talent in the past at 54. Canelo Alvarez couldn't stop him. Struggled with him. Cotto lost to him. Jermell Charlo struggled with him. Barely squeaked by a decision over him. And Jarret Hurd, he had the biggest statement against Austin Trout. Was able to be the first one to stop him. So I know a lot more about Jarret Hurd, his character in the ring. I've just seen more. He's shown me more. Jermell, he's been showing some punching power his last few fights, but he hit Lubin with a blind shot that he didn't see. He knocked out Hatley, who is not exactly the guy with the best chin. And John Jackson's a chinny guy. He's not exactly a guy with the greatest of chins. So I'm not so sure if Jermell's punching power has improved or is mostly a mirage against weak-chinned opponents. So there's still a lot to be learned about Jermell Charlo. Now, the unification fight is something that's needed in the junior middleweight division. There's currently 4 belt holders, 5 if you count Demetrius Andrade for the regular strap. So there's no definite man in the division. There's no clear-cut number one guy. Not in my eyes. Lara, he's the most experienced, probably the most accomplished, but he don't fight nobody. He fights no hopers in a number of his fights. So Jermell hasn't really shown any interest in fighting Lara. Lara has stated that he would fight Jermell. It's business. Whether the fight happens, I don't know. Jermell hasn't called out Lara. He's only been calling out Jarret Hurd. He wants Hurd, he said. But that fight is not going to be next. Jarrett's going to fight his mandatory challenge. It has to be taken care of. He already asked for an exemption to fight Trout. So he's got to take care of business against Cedric Vitu. I'm not going to criticize the opponent. I mean, he's a highly rated guy. He's number 1 in the IBF, number 2 in the WBC. I've never seen him fight, so I'm not going to call a guy I've never seen fight a total bum. But that's going to be next for Jarret Hurd. Whether Showtime buys the fight, that remains to be seen. For Charlo, he could pick whoever he wants to fight in the top 15. And from what I can see, I could see him fighting Julian Williams next. If Williams, there's rumblings he's going to fight Ishe Smith in an eliminator of sorts. So perhaps he could be a viable opponent in the future. Maybe something Showtime would buy for Jermell Charlo's next title defense. But in the meantime, if he doesn't want to fight someone in the rankings, why not just fight Erizani Lara? Since Lara never has any mandatories enforced upon him, he stated he would fight Jermell. So while Hurd is taking care of mandatory obligations, Jermell could easily fight Erizani Lara for unification, and he would have a strong claim as being the best if he was to beat Erizani Lara if they were to fight next. And I dislike Lara. I'm not a Lara fan at all. Didn't even watch his fight. I had the same effect as most of the people in the arena when that fight came on. As soon as the Charlo Lubin fight ended, I bounced. I went out, didn't even bother to watch the Lara fight because I expected what was to be expected. It was going to be a dull snooze fest, and that's exactly what people said. Didn't even bother watching the fight. Still haven't watched the fight. Probably I'm not going to watch the fight because Lara is just irrelevant. Bum champion. And I'm not the biggest Jermell Charlo fan, but I'll be rooting for him if he fights Erizani Lara next. But I really doubt the fight happens. I don't see much interest from Jermell's side. He's never called him out. He wants Hurd. But Swift Jarret Hurd is not available right now. So the Lara fight is there if he wants it. I really doubt it happens though. Lara is going to continue to cherry pick whoever in the top 15 of WBA. That's his career. Even though he's pushing for unification as well. But Jermell is the only guy available. Let's see if that fight happens. But I'm looking forward to a eventual unification clash between Jermell and Jarret Hurd. It's a good fight. Both guys got size. Jermell has displayed some power in his recent fights. Jarret Hurd has been on a knockout streak. It's a great fight. Good unification matchup. And I got Jarret all the way in this fight. I know more about him. I know more about his character. I seen him overcoming some adversity. I seen him not get shaken up by a cut. He says it actually improved his performance. So there's a lot of stuff that has been learned about Jarret Hurd. He's not the perfect fighter. He can be outpointed at times. But man, is he a dog. He'll walk you down. He'll beat you the fuck up. He's a big 154 pounder with size and reach. There's some things he can work on, like, be more consistent with his jab. Maybe some better footwork, more fluidity. But he's come a long way, and with only limited amateur experience, he's quite a handful because his style, he makes it work for him. He's able to use the moves that he got and be effective, even with his hands down and being squared up a lot of times in the ring. He's still very effective, and he can fight on the inside. He's kind of hard to tie up. He continues to hit you, and he can wear you down. He's got really good stamina in that ring. Jermell, I don't know much about him. I've seen him get outboxed. I've seen him lose fights. I've seen him been in some tough fights, competitive fights against Martirosyan. There's been fights I don't see much punching power. And then there's fights when he's just fighting guys who are sitting ducks for his 1-2, like Charles Hatley. And he lands a blind punch on Lubin, and the referee prematurely stops the fight. So I don't know much about Jermell just yet. Need to see more. Maybe the future fights will tell me more about Jermell, how good he is, and whether he is truly a worthy champion at 54. But he will have his chance to prove his worth in the future. I see another title defense. Not sure about unification. Be nice if he was to fight Lara. See a chance for Lara's reign to be ended. But in the meantime, both guys, Charlo and Hurd, they're going to go this separate direction for now. Maybe Jarret Hurd will be the one that fights Lara first before Jermell. And then Jarret Hurd will actually be the guy with 2 straps. Lara fight will be tough for Hurd, stylistically. All that moving. But Jarret Hurd can definitely chop Lara down. especially Lara at his age, at this stage, fighting the no-hoper he's been fighting. He hasn't fought someone as physically big, tough, durable, and a guy that can punch. The physicality that Hurd brings in that ring might be too much for Lara at this stage, at almost 35 years old. But the 54-pound division is heating up. But I stand by my statements. If and when Jarret Hurd fights Jermell Charlo, Hurd will knock out Charlo if and when they meet. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.